name is Kate Graziani. I'm the co-director of Vocal Texas. At Vocal Texas, we are building power among low-income people who've been directly impacted by mass incarceration, HIV, AIDS, homelessness, and the war on drugs and overdose. And today we are here in honor of International Overdose Awareness Day, a day where communities across the world gather together to honor the loved ones that we have lost to overdose and to fight for our community. This week also marks the one-year anniversary of Vocal Texas. So why are we here in front of the governor's mansion and across the street from the Texas legislature?
Amen.
Well, because in Texas, 15 lives are needlessly lost every single day to overdose.
That ain't right.
That's right.
And we know what it takes to save lives. We know that harm reduction works. Right?
It works!
We know that drug checking works. And we know that we need more of these solutions in our communities, and we need our state leadership to help us get there. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to enact meaningful legislation yet, although there have been attempts, and we appreciate those attempts. What we have seen instead the doubling down on things like punishment, criminalization, over-policing at the border. And we know those things don't work, do they?
No!
In fact, they're often causing more harm and more overdose deaths.
Yes.
So again, we are here today because enough is enough. We know what it takes to save lives, and we want to be able to use these tools in our community in order to keep people alive. And we need our state leadership to stand with us, to listen to people who are on the front lines of this overdose crisis, and enact life-saving legislation so that we can keep our community alive.
That's right.
So that's why we're here today. We're also here today to honor those that we've lost, our loved ones, our friends, our comrades who have needlessly died of overdose. And so before we get to our incredible lineup of speakers, I want to ask you all to share a moment of silence with us as we honor those we've lost. So please, let's take a moment of silence. Thank you. We hold our loved ones in our hearts today as we demand action. Our first speaker is Maggie Luna, the Executive Director of the Texas Harm Reduction Alliance. After Maggie, we will hear from Ms. Carolyn Williams of Vocal Texas, followed by Jamie Diaz, also with the Texas Harm Reduction Alliance. And then we'll hear from Selena Shia, the President of the EMS Association.
Go, Maggie.
Hello, and thank you all for being here today. Like they said, my name is Maggie Luna. I'm the Executive Director at Texas Harm Reduction Alliance, and it is with extreme honor that I get to say that today. I spent 20 years battling, living in chaotic use, and I feel very grateful to have made it out alive. But I also want to recognize my many friends who did not. Today, I was experiencing survivor's guilt every time I would hear another person that was senselessly lost in the overdose crisis. But today it fuels me to do anything that I can to keep these people alive. When I learned of the work being done at Texas Harm Reduction Alliance, I really wished that those tools were available to me when I was out there living in my chaotic use. And I really feel for the people who ended up losing their lives alone and in shame and being stigmatized.
Yeah.
THRA uses evidence-based approaches to address the opioid overdose crisis, and lives are being saved every day. THRA runs one of the only drop-in centers that is open to anyone, no matter where they are on the spectrum of drug use. The team at THRA leads with compassion, humanity, and love. They are highly dedicated to providing life-saving services amid this overdose crisis that is impacting our city. However, the need in our community grows. Every day, the number of people grows and our dedicated staff members does not. Our staff experiences firsthand trauma and emotional trauma because they do care so much. And the people that we serve are very dear to their hearts. This issue is a public health issue, and public overdose awareness needs to be a priority. Every overdose is preventable. It impacts the entire community. In 2023, 486 Travis County residents died from overdose. That's up from 417 people from the year prior. From August 2022 to August 2023, there were an estimated 5,566 drug-related deaths in Texas. 45% of them involved fentanyl, according to the CDC. Texas needs to support initiatives that aim to prevent overdose. Instead of blocking legislation that's needed to keep people alive and doubling down on criminalization, we need drug checking and fentanyl test strips. We need comprehensive harm reduction programs.
Yes.
We need increased access to naloxone and Narcan. We need increased access to spaces for people who use drugs, access to health care and mental health care, access to affordable housing, better protections under the Good Samaritan law. We know what works to keep people alive. We do it every single day at THRA. We have a small but dedicated team implementing these evidence-based practices, and we see what works. So please help us to keep people alive. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carolyn Williams. I am a leader at Vocal Texas. We are here, and I'm upset at Governor Abbott and our state leaders' failure to respond to the overdose crisis. My son, Hassan Williams, was found dead in a river or a ditch. My son was a good son. My son would take the clothes off his back to give to somebody else who was in need. He would take his shoes off if he seen somebody did not have shoes. And this happened to my child. I am a victim of fentanyl overdose. If it would have been access to safe supplies and fentanyl test stripping, we would not be here. My son still would be here. Our communities would still be here. Cree, Akai, and Hassan and Addie would still be here. People could make sure that they are safe and not worry about our community being unsafe. Governor Abbott and our state leaders, your outdated drug war policies are killing us. And that ain't right. Our state leaders are ignoring the reality of this crisis and are not passing safe harm reduction supplies or housing. Instead, weaponizing the police, and that is only going to cause more DEATS, death, death. International Overdose Awareness Day means a lot to me. This impacted me. My son should still be here. Hearing other people lose their lives, loved ones, impacted me. They should still be here. Thank you.
Harm reduction saves lives.
Harm reduction saves lives. Harm reduction saves lives.
Harm reduction
Save lives.
Harm reduction
Save lives.
We acknowledge with respect that the land that we are on is the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Tonkawa, the Apache, the Isleta del Sur Pueblo, the Lipan Apache tribe, the Texas Band of Yaqui Indians, the Cojuetican, and other tribes not explicitly stated. Additionally, we would like to acknowledge and pay respects to the Alabama Coshada tribe of Texas, the Kickapoo tribe of Texas, Carrizo and Comercrudo, Tigua Pueblo, Caddo, Comanche, Kiowa, Wichita, Chickasaw, Waco Nations, and all the American Indian and indigenous peoples and communities who have been or have become part of these lands and territories in Texas here on Turtle Island. Not all indigenous peoples listed claim Texas as ancestral lands, and as many were forcibly relocated from their ancestral homelands. My name is Jamie Diaz, and I'm a queer person with lived experience, and I'm the Peer Services Coordinator for the Texas Harm Reduction Alliance. Okay, since last August of 2023, since I joined THRA's outreach team, I have seen the negative effects that the state of Texas, Travis County, and the city of Austin has had on the people who use drugs, people who are unhoused, and people experiencing mental health challenges. Their policies and rhetoric have been violent, discriminatory, and unjust towards our friends that need no barriers access to have a balanced life of wellness.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
Right.
Ain't right.
Today, we stand together in solidarity with our friends to demand that we need change. Change in policy. Not reform, change. And to put people's lives first. We need to change the legality of things like fentanyl testing strips. We need to change drug possession laws and have no barriers to access to permanent supportive housing. Why is it that our beautiful black folks, our beautiful indigenous folks, and our beautiful Latinx folks, our beautiful Two-Spirit and LGBTQ plus folks are dying from overdose more than any other population? Why?
Is that right?
Why does that have to happen today? Under the governor's watch, under the county leader's watch, under the city leader's watch.
They should still be right.
There should be no need for that.
None.
Our human spirit needs to change. It needs to change. We need to find joy. We need to find love. We need to find happiness within each other. The revolution starts from within. It starts with our families. It starts with our communities. And it starts right here, right now, on Overdose Awareness Month. So I call to each and every one of you, especially those elected officials, I challenge y'all to come help us, come join us to make a change. Don't be an ally, don't be a liaison, be one of us, be amongst us. I love each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
Not one more. My name is Selena, and I am president of the Austin EMS Association, and so I represent 550 medics who pick up the phone when you call 911, who ride out in the ambulances and respond to your emergencies. And we really have, in Travis County, seen a huge uptick in our overdoses calls. The city of Austin, a few years ago, started a program that anytime somebody experienced a narcotic overdose, within 24 hours, if we had their address, if we could find them, that we would return and offer them harm reduction, including leave behind Narcan, including options for treatment like Suboxone, or helping them get signed up for methadone and health insurance. And our caseload has gotten so big that we've had to double that resource because we are seeing so many more people that are experiencing overdoses without some of the life-saving treatments that the governor could just make legal.
That ain't right.
It ain't right. It ain't right. And then we have some really bad days where we see a bad batch go around and we have dozens of overdoses across the city, where at one point we had 30 or 40 overdoses happening at one time.
Yes.
And we had over 10 deaths in one day. And what that means is that our paramedics are exclusively responding to those calls and unable to respond to any other calls in the city because we are completely overwhelmed with overdose calls. That means that everybody in this community suffers when we don't make sure we have good harm reduction available for everybody.
That ain't right.
So this is something that everybody needs to pay attention to, and all we're asking for is a few really simple things to be legalized by the governor, to really emphasize harm reduction and make fentanyl test strips legal. That would really save a lot of lives, and so many states have that. So let's get it done this session.
All right, next up we have Aaron Ferguson with our Texas Drug User Health Union. Anna Duncan, you'll be after Aaron. And then we'll hear from our very own District Attorney Jose Garza and Representative Donna Howard.
My name is Aaron, and I am a person that uses drugs. I am a person who deserves a right to quality of life, to pursue happiness, and all the things that are enshrined in the rights of every other American. I would not be standing here today if not for harm reduction. I would not be standing here today if not for the other people who use drugs, who supported me. I'm part of a national movement of people who have survived this genocide, and I don't call it a drug war because in a war there are casualties on both sides.
That's right.
In this situation, all the casualties are on our side, so this is a genocide. We have survived this genocide of our people long enough to fight back, and we are rising up as the Texas Drug User Health Union and the National Survivors Union to demand the same rights as every other American and to demand survival.
Right.
I'm holding in my hand an open letter from people who use drugs in Texas. Signed and sealed and to be delivered to Governor Greg Abbott on this day. This is what it looks like when we lack a safe supply. Tired of seeing us looking high, most folks would have us die. Don't want us using in their face, they wish we'd hide it better. They'd rather see us slumped in place than to use out of the weather.
Come on.
A place where steps are put in place to stop an overdose. Our lives are shaken. Isolation's why we're so morose. We use in private, hide our scars to keep the hounds at bay. See a doctor, ask for trouble, that's just not our way. Not here to ask for pity, wouldn't get it if we did. Instead, you dress your moral judgment over the things we hid, Governor Abbott. Amber clouds of concerned care keep you on higher ground, even as we feel the burn of poisons by the pound. This ain't the time to ask for sympathy. We've had to learn. Our people die, no empathy when it's our turn to yearn. Instead, tough love and forced recovery are your piety. You stand in pride from up above and flout sobriety. What the fuck is sobriety?
Come on, say it.
While stadiums upon stadiums of our people die, I guess if life was bad enough, we'd give a better try. We're done playing by your rules, your sanitary standards. We're not a bunch of goddamn fools. We've all just lost our manners. We're loud and proud to be the ones that you have thrown away. In our sorrow, using turns, we found a better way. Stop this war on us and ours. We won't be stopped from living. Our human rights were shot for ours. Our movement keeps on giving. We march the streets and march the halls of your jails, prisons, and clinics. Out in the cuts, we'll beat our feet. No fails we never mimic. This racist game was just designed to make us all go crazy. Backs to the wall, we're marching on when roads seem dark and hazy. Our fight for safe supply is built authentic through and through. So though we die, we spread the word. Drug users are human too. And when the world has felt the power of our revolution, you'll step on down from your ivory tower and cede to our solution. Be ready, willing, say it loud, fuck stigma, don't be a loser. Stand up tall, friends, stand up proud and shout, I'm a drug user. Stand up tall, friends, stand up proud and shout, I'm a drug user. When I say Greg, you say Abbott. Greg. When I say Dag, you say Nabbit. Dag. Dag. When I say no, you say Waller. No. No. Waller. When I say human, you say we are. Human. Human. When I say justice, you say together. Justice. Justice. When I say won't quit, you say never. Won't quit. Won't quit. When I say justice, you say together. Justice. Justice. When I say won't quit, you say never. Never. Woo!
Let's go, Anna! Let's go. Got it, girl. You can do it.
Hello, my name is Anna Duncan. I am a Vocal Texas leader. I have been in recovery for 11 years. Lately, I have been telling my story to people to hear my story so it doesn't happen to other people. I was exposed to drugs at a very, very young age. Drugs that no child should be put on. I remember the first time that I overdosed, like it was yesterday. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. I was 18 when I tried fentanyl. A friend introduced me to fentanyl. She gave me a little to try in a sterile syringe. Comes to find out, it was a little bit too much. I had gone back to my apartment to try it, and very luckily, it happened on inspection day. Since my door was open, the property manager where I was staying at had walked by and saw me passed out on the floor. She called for help. I woke up in the hospital not knowing where I was, not knowing how it happened. So when I look back on that day, on that particular day, I think about how harm reduction would have helped me if I knew about it, if I could go there. I didn't have the education what fentanyl was or how to use it safely. Come on. I didn't have the community nor the support, so I wouldn't ended up overdosing and almost dying alone. I did not know what a Narcan was or how to use it.
That ain't right. That's right.
We all know that harm reduction does save lives.
Yeah.
We need our state leaders to support harm reduction. We need our leaders to support people who's out on the street that needs the support. We need harm reduction services. We need housing. We need Narcan. We need fentanyl testing strips. We need safe places for people to go. And we need so much more from our state leaders. International Overdose Awareness Day means that we need to honor our people who passed away from overdosing and to recognize all of the people who are still overdosing. State leaders, I am pleading with you to do so much more with us. Thank you.
Harm reduction. Save lives.
Harm reduction saves lives! Harm reduction saves lives! Harm reduction saves lives! Harm reduction! Saves
lives. Good afternoon. How are you? Boy, these are some tough acts to follow. I'm so grateful to be here with you, and I'm so grateful to each of our speakers today, and I'm so grateful to all of you who have lost loved ones and friends to these unnecessary and preventable deaths. I'm so grateful for your courage and for your strength. I know every day this seems insurmountable, that the changes that we are trying to make seem out of reach. But because of your courage, because of your commitment, we are making progress. And that is because of your strength and your advocacy. And I'm just humbled to be among you and to be among that strength. My name is Jose Garza, and I'm humbled to be the Travis County District Attorney. In Travis County and across the state, our friends and our neighbors are dying. Last year, it ain't right.
They should still be here.
Last year, over 5,000 Texans died in a drug-related death, and an estimated 45% of those deaths involved fentanyl. Overdose deaths are preventable. Our state lawmakers can and should do more to ensure that our communities can access the tools required to address this crisis with the public health approach that it deserves. This is a crisis that demands urgency, but I want to be sure that today, as we honor our loved ones and friends, that we take some time to appreciate how far we have come because of the tireless advocacy of the community behind me and so many more. Between public health professionals, community organizations, and everyday people who love people who use drugs and do not want to see their loved ones die, there is a growing bipartisan support for a different approach to tackle the overdose crisis. Last legislative session, Republicans and Democrats came together to increase access to naloxone and to support fentanyl test strips. Because of your outreach, your education efforts, and your advocacy, Governor Abbott reversed his previous position and declared his support for fentanyl test strip legislation. Now, I understand that that legislation was blocked in the Senate during the last legislative session, and believe me, I know that there is much more that the state can do to prevent overdoses and save lives. But today, I want to thank lawmakers from both parties who have listened to their communities, who have studied the evidence, and have come to the same conclusion that I have reached. And that is simply that we cannot arrest and prosecute our way out of this crisis. We cannot continue to rely solely on our criminal legal system to solve the overdose crisis. As a state and as a community, we need to continue to invest and legalize public health interventions that are proven to reduce overdoses and save lives.
Yes.
I want to thank all of the lawmakers who stood with champions like our own Representative Howard and the others in the Travis County delegation who came together last session to support test strip legalization legislation. The governor did the right thing to support fentanyl test strip legislation last session, and I hope that he will continue to do so. And I hope that next legislative session, all of our state leaders in the House and the Senate will continue to work together, not just to pass strip legislation, but to continue to invest in and support the public health strategies that we need to address this crisis and save Texan lives. And most importantly, I hope that our lawmakers will continue to come together to support all of you, to support your families and friends and loved ones, and your incredible continued advocacy. Thank you for all you do. It is an honor to be with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. No more drug war! No more drug war! No more drug war!
I totally understand your frustration with elected leaders not responding and doing what needs to be done. I have lived experience in my family of the same issue, but you shouldn't have to have a lived experience to recognize the compassion that's needed for our fellow humans. And so thank you for what you're doing. I'm Donna Howard. I'm state representative here in Travis County. With the introduction and proliferation of fentanyl in our communities, we have seen opioid-related deaths skyrocket over the last few years. This epidemic has impacted every part of our community.
Oh, yes.
Too many families have mourned the loss of a loved one.
Yes.
Too many lives have unraveled due to addiction.
Yes.
Though the Texas legislature has increased access to naloxone and Narcan, we can and should pass additional policies that have been proven to mitigate harms related to drug use, improve health outcomes, and prevent overdose deaths.
Yeah.
Harm reduction policies do not encourage drug use. Rather, they recognize the humanity of people who use drugs and aim to improve public health. Bottom line, we can't help people get into recovery if they're dead.
That's right.
Last session, we had legislation, in fact, 14 bills that would have removed fentanyl testing strips from the list of items considered to be drug paraphernalia. This legislation received overwhelming bipartisan support in the Texas House, but failed to receive a hearing in the Senate, despite Governor Abbott making this an emergency item and placing the weight of his office behind its passage.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
He lied.
It didn't pass in the Senate, and that's where we got to work this time, folks. We did pass some legislation aimed at raising awareness and addressing the opioid epidemic. For example, public school districts are now required to provide students in grades 6 through 12 with research-based instruction related to fentanyl abuse prevention and drug poisoning awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
We also passed legislation that requires every public school district to implement a policy regarding the maintenance, administration, and disposal of Narcan on campuses with students in grades 6 through 12. And though these policies are important steps in the right direction, more obviously must be done. This is why I plan to refile legislation that would remove drug testing strips from the list of items considered to be drug paraphernalia. Test strips are a low-cost method of helping prevent drug overdoses and reducing harm. Meaningful reforms that do not further criminalize this issue and recognize that it is a public health issue are long past overdue. In the upcoming session, the legislature has the opportunity to make necessary and important changes that will save lives and help rebuild communities. We all have a role to play in this fight, whether it's volunteering with a local group that provides support services, such as the people here today have been talking about, the Vocal Group, donating to organizations focused on Harm Reduction Alliance, or working with lawmakers to change policy. I look forward to working with stakeholders and our community members to ensure this critical legislation becomes law. Thank you.
Alrighty, y'all. My name is JJ Ramirez. I'm an organizer of Vocal Texas. I appreciate everybody coming out here today. Texas Harm Reduction Alliance, Vocal Texas members and leaders, allies, the DA, our representative. And I want to close us out today by again saying, no more drug war. 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 More drug war. Yeah, guys, I appreciate you. If we have a flower, we want to lay it down at the gate here to let everybody know that we will not let up off of this and to keep our people that we've lost in our thoughts. I appreciate y'all, and I love all y'all.
They had scheduled my site meeting this morning, and I was like,